here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. This 2,000 miles I roam just to make this drop my home.
Bahamas Maritime Connection.
What is maritime?
Maritime, simply put, relates to navigation or commerce on the high seas.
Some say money makes the world go round. I say ships move the money that make the world move.
Who navigates those large international ships?
How often are international ships required to be surveyed and inspected?
Maritime also protects our seas and borders by way of our local Bahamas Defense
It
Corps.
is very sad to say that out of 1,500 plus ships that are registered under the Bahamian flag, only a very small amount of Bahamians are employed.
Maritime Matters.
Pleasant good evening to you, our valued listening audience. Welcome on. Welcome all. Welcome to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Bain. The producer for our show tonight may not be the greatest, but he is certainly amongst all the greatest. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by none other than the great Mr. Kishno Jones. We're coming to you live via Love 97 FM. This is Tuesday, the 5th day of August, 2025. And if it's a Tuesday, you know the deal. It's maritime. Tick, 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 tick. Matters. We encourage that if you're driving and tuned in with us, please do so cautiously and ensure to take your time in getting wherever it is you are trying to get safely. As the saying goes, drive to alive. Alive. Right? Putting alive and you gotta drive to arrive alive. That's what you do tonight. That's what you do today. That's what you always do as far as we're concerned. We want you to listen, but we want you to get there in one piece. Our sponsors for tonight's show are the usual: One-on-One Pharmacy and also Island Care Pharmacy, and of course Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. Good night, my good old Annie Mae. Annie Mae, still our number one fan, going strong up there in Freeport. 92 years and going older and stronger and wiser. Annie Mae, I say good night to you. I know you're on the ball. You know how we roll. And you know I'm loving you all the time, honey. You're listening to Maritime Matters, people. And on this show, we talk maritime. Tonight, we engage various recent maritime hot topics. So the hot one for the night, we call it the big deal, is the resumption of Shanty town demolitions. That's the hot one. And we're also going to talk tonight about control of illegal migrants in our country. We want to talk about the cruise port. They're having a $26 million expansion. And hopefully that will roll out to the end of this year and very early next year. That will come to head. And then we want to talk about when we could put our cruise ports, one in every family island. As you know, cruises are growing rapidly in this country, so we need our cruise ports to grow along with that rapidity. And in doing so, we will cause the family islands to get cruise ships and get a lot of people out of Nassau that belongs to those family islands, because they now have a lot of things to do and a lot of money to make. How could we be so naive in these times? The Bahamas is like the Eastern Caribbean. Every single country in the Eastern Caribbean got a cruise ship dock. So why every island is bigger than some of their countries? Most of them. So people, we need to get with the program. So please, be sure to stay tuned as we delve into discussion on these maritime issues. And again, the government plans to resume Shantytown demolitions. There are 2 sites on New Providence that is being targeted. And they have already been issued the 30-day notices. Because we ain't seen no demolitions since Cool Acres and All Saints Way and that little area in Coral Harbor. I forget the name of that one. But that's all we, well, look here now, we had done for years and decades before that, but I still say that's all we do, because from then we more demolition going on, and I thought we had a schedule to take down all animal, every single one. We know where they are. And then we talk about we're going to do something in Lutra, because they had a team and they did an assessment for Tappan Bay and Point. I say Point. People from Lutra though, only Point in Lutra is Palmetto Point. And then again, Blackwood and Russell Island. They ain't say nothing but Bryland, although we've been getting a lot of reports that they pile up like Dayton, Bryland. But anyway, that's what's on the agenda. And then we want to speak to controlling illegal migrants throughout our country. And so after we don't get rid of all the shanty towns, and we could use the Building Control Act to get, we don't know how to do it, because we could use the Building Control Act to take down any building in this country that is not in conformity or in compliance with the building code. And those shanty towns, we know, they were not inspected while they were being built, so they cannot be deemed in compliance. Otherwise, they can break them down for us to see what they do. But we ain't got to worry about that. They don't have the inspection, they don't have the records. Carry on smartly. We will break them down for you. You ain't got to break them down. We can break them down for you. And that's how we got to roll. I don't know if you all remember. Well, I can say some of you all remember, because all of you all ain't all like me, right? When we were small, this thing used to come on TV on Saturday mornings and sometimes through the week. You know what you used to say? It's a bird. No. It's a plane. No. It's Superman. And then you see the Man of Steel, the cape hanging out, all the red, blue, and man, he looked like he was Superman. Well, he wasn't black, but he was Superman, right? Superman was the Man of Steel. He used to take that. And you know why he referred to Superman, right? Our Minister of Works, Minister Clay Sweeting, is our Superman. And why is he our Superman? He's our Superman because he has taken down Cool Acres, All Saints Way, and the little shanty town in the Coral Harbor area. Since then, or before then, I want one of you all to name me one Minister of Works that took down one shanty town. And then we will realize why Mr. Clay Sweeting is Superman. Boy, I tell you, we used to have some time watching Superman and Batman and Robin and all the rest of them. But Superman, you've done well. But we got ways to go. We need to know what is on the schedule for the other 31 shanty towns, or 33 or 39 or 40. I don't know. It says 30 something altogether, right? We took down 3. Excuse me. So would that leave Mr. Superman? Let's still leave 30 plus. Now I see you say, well, we got our eyes on 2. We don't give them the notice, but it's only August. We take down them 2 at the end of August. We got September, October, November, December. 4 months, and we take down 2 every month. So that's 8 more out of 30 something. Now we'll be down in the 20s. But we want to see the list, Mr. Superman. We don't want to be playing a guessing game, because that ain't necessary. We don't only want us to see the list, we want them to see the list so they could know we coming for you. Get out now or get out soon. Because we coming to take you down. You're wrong. You shouldn't have been there. And we can make sure you ain't gonna be there no further. And then, if we're doing 2 a month, that means the first 6 months of next year should be another 12. We be down to the tens, Mr. Superman. Boy, you know how super, we'll have to call you Super Duper Man. Let me stop. Mr. Gleason, you've done a very good job, sir. And you are to be applauded for that great job you've done. But be watching. We don't want it to stop there. Yeah, we won't ask for too much, because that's how we go. We see you do something good, boy, we want you to blow that apart. So let's get a list of the 2 a month running through the end of this year, and the 2 a month running through the 6 months of next year. And then don't be shy, just write it out. Even if you don't meet all that demand, you may knock down 3 a month, who knows? But we want the list so that we can follow what's going on. And in those family islands, I see, well, we talk about it, you know, we been up in Abaco. I know you mashed down 1 or 2 in Abaco, but boy, Abaco has after Hurricane Dorian knocked down the mud and the pea, as they call it, they had all kind of, I mean, these things like 3 and 4 times the size of the pigeon pea and mud put together. And boy, you know, I used to go to pigeon pea in the mud, and I couldn't believe the extent, the volume of buildings in that place that were just sitting there in the middle of Marsh Harbor, and they ain't got money there, nothing. So the hurricane came and helped us. But now, they're gone, and they produce bigger, bolder, and better. And all those Kai Mills videos we used to have to tell us, oh, now look at this one. They pouring foundation, they doing that. Where was our authorities when all of this was going on? But guess what? We done so we can take them down. Let's have a schedule for Abaco as well, Mr. Superman. We want a schedule for Abaco too. You want nobody come around here thinking, oh, well, they're running things now. No. Now, you see, and you know, the Shanty Town is one thing. But that's one way we could do this. We controlling the illegal migrants, because this is a maritime show. And I want you to know that it's a maritime link to these shanty towns. Because when that ship lands, and you know, we say, oh, well, you know, they ain't coming. Yes, they still coming by boat because we catching stuff. But I mean, we catching all, you know. And they have money. These people, $10 or $10,000 a head. People can try to make money. They can exploit that situation. You got the churches, some of the migration or migrant churches involved in making sure they get these people and save them when they hit shocks. They know they're hungry and they're tired, and because I can tell you those trips don't be easy on them sailboat, right? But now they're using all kind of, they're charging a little more money, and they're using freighters, they're using boats with engines now, etc., etc., and etc. So to control them, you need to rid the country of the shanty towns, because the shanty towns give them an area to assemble and learn English and learn trade, and it kind of houses them and fosters more of them to come in, and they ain't paying much money. But if all those shanty towns are broken down, and all of those people living in shanty towns got to now rent real apartments, like we Bahamian people got to do, then it levels the playing field. Because you know what they do, right? They stay in those shanty towns and they save their money. See, they ain't spending much for rent. They got a little room and they pay them $20 a week. I mean, that's plenty of money now. That's a little room, and you know how much little rooms they have in them shanty towns paying $20 a week? That's thousands of dollars every month, right? And then most of the money they get, they send home. And I can't blame the people for that. Because if I was in that situation, I would have done the very same thing. I'm blaming them. But we have a responsibility as a country. Our government owes it to us to ensure that even if they're here, they should not be taking jobs that Bahamians that are reserved for Bahamians. And there's a lot of them. A lot of them taking jobs that are reserved for Bahamians, and Bahamians can't find way. Because when they take those jobs, they work for little or nothing. So the Bahamian can't compete with their price. And then some of them do shabbiness, while the Bahamian trying to give you a quality service. But some people only want to pay less. They ain't worrying about the qualityness. And then, now, don't fool me now. I don't want you to fool yourself. Some of those migrants have been here long enough, and they've worked in areas like Lyford Key and Old Fort Bay and out east, and they've learned quality work. And when they get the job, some of them are now contractors. So when they get a job, they hire their own people and pay their people peanuts while they're making the big bucks. Now they're starting to charge real money. Right? Those contractors who really know what they're doing, they charging real money. But the bottom line is, we allowing it. We not only allowing it because our government administrations and departments and whatnot are not arresting the people who are hiring them. Because that's where it starts, you know. It starts with somebody got to hire them. And when last have you seen one of those people in court for hiring an illegal migrant? An undocumented worker? My understanding is, boy, it's been a long time. But yet, we cry. Oh, they taking up all the jobs. We can't. And they all the way in Lyford Key. And I ain't talking about the migrants from the south. I talking about big time migrants working in big time places, and these people hiring them over Bahamians. You know? But what we do? We're just allowing it to happen. The authorities are allowing it to happen. Because only the authorities that we have in place to arrest these employers can do that. I mean, you can't do that. We could cry and talk, and that's how I could cry and talk. Oh, I could do that. But at the end of the day, it's them who got to do it. They're paid to do it. They're committed. That's and well, I mean, you know, all of them are not going by the way they should be. You know, a lot of them, they take a couple of dollars to turn the eye the next way. We know what goes on in our country. But at least put one in jail, man. If only for one day. Let the rest see, you could go to jail for hiring undocumented people. And we will watch the dominoes crumble. And we have a situation where we have the shanty towns. We have the employers employing a bunch of undocumented workers. But the government ain't really telling us what they could do about it, when they could lock one up, when they could go to this job site and make sure that, you know, we don't see them. And what about all the other political entities? What about the opposition, the official opposition in the House of Parliament that we have there to say, if the government ain't doing it, put some heat on them? What is the opposition going to do if they become government? What has the opposition done when they were government? Well, they have no Superman. Are they identifying the Superman now? Are they even addressing this situation to say, in the first 6 months, if we become government, we will take down 6 shanty towns a month, or 1 shanty town a month, or whatever the case may be. We will go on this job site, that job site. We will go on a taxi line and make sure everybody on the taxi line is documented to be driving taxi. And if someone hire one of them, we can find out who they are because we know who car they driving. And give them 1 day in Foxhall prison. 1 day. So the rest could get it together. What about the COI? We hear them. We hear them all the time. But are they really saying what they will do? Are they giving us numbers? How many shanty towns will we take down in the first 6 months? How many per month? Are they going to give us a schedule? How many places are they going to go? Why don't they go to places now? Not only the COI, but the F&M too. Why don't they go to some of these job sites right now and give us an example of how they have a problem with foreign entities being hired by employers in this country? Put some pressure on the government. Why? Everybody slack. The PLP, the F&M, the COI, and the DNA slack. Because I see none of them doing it. I want to see some action from everybody. Because this is not a PLP problem. This is not an F&M problem. It's not a COI or DNA problem. This problem is a Bahamas problem. We the people, all of us feeling this. All of us will feel it even more if you don't get a grip on it. So say as you may or as you wish. We are all in this fight together. And we don't put the pressure on our politicians, not just the government of the day, not just the administration in power, all of them. Then we are just as bad. Because we, most of us, well, some of us, I none, but some of us, we are also F&M or PLP or COI. And some even still hold on to DNA. But what is our party doing? We know. Nothing. Okay. Our next topic will be cruise ports. And you see, I rolling. I cutting up. I rolling right now. Cruise ports. Our Nassau cruise port is projecting to spend 26 million big buckaroos, or buckaroos we call them, on expanding what exists today. And what are they going to do? They're going to provide dock space for mega yachts. Now, mega yachts, because you know, we got some ships coming in that are so large, they can't even get in our marine. Our marinas don't have docks big enough for them. And I remember some of them used to be at Prince George Wharf, and I worked at the port department. They couldn't get in because they're almost like cruise ship size. Well, not the modern cruise ship, but they're huge. They're like 300 and 400 feet long, right? So we are making provision for more of them to be in our harbor at one time. And then they're going to put a huge, I think, Olympic-sized pool. I think it's supposed to be 50 meter or something like that, pool, right in the port. And me and you wouldn't be able to go to the pool, obviously, because they want the people from the cruise ship to just leave the ship and go in the pool and buy some drinks. Because you have a lot of people who come on the cruise ship, but they don't care to go ashore. But now, they like swimming in a big pool. Now see, those cruise ships, you could go in the biggest of them. They ain't got no 50 meter pool. They may have a couple pools, but they ain't gonna have no big time 50 meter pool. So if we could put a big time 50 meter pool there with a nice long bar, that's a lot of money we will get out of their pocket. That if they, excuse me, that will take a good handful of employees to really make, because I want you to know that place to be crowded. Just like how it's going to be crowded being beach club, because a lot of people, all they want is on the north side of that beach club. That used to be Club Med Beach. You know how Club Med people used to be carrying on, right? I don't think they could be doing the Club Med thing, but guess what? That is such a beautiful beach. Those people are going to enjoy themselves. And a lot of people, when they come on these cruises, all they want to get a beach, they feel like they're in heaven. They don't want nobody bother them. That's the reason why they don't like to come to our public beaches, because, you know, a little harassment and they feel it's safe, boy. But when they're over there, they know they're safe. And they know that they're in the best waters in the world. So the beach people obviously getting crossed out. But the people who just want to swim in pools, because I'm sure they have a big time pool over there too. But if you you got it right in the harbor and they can see it when they reach, oh yeah, they plan on that. So I endorse, in all respects, the placing of that big pool, and also I endorse the mega yacht facilitation. Now they have a signature restaurant. I don't know what all of that means. Signature must mean that's a worldwide name restaurant, right? And everywhere you go in the world, you find one of them. I don't know what the name. I don't know which one they can put. But most of the cruise ship leave around 5, 6 o'clock. So, what, they have lunch? I don't know, because I have been to on many cruises and at many ports. And there was this port in Istanbul, Turkey. Well, I want you to know it's the Turkish people who put a new cruise port the way it is. Because they have the largest one in Turkey. And let me tell you something. That thing is like a huge shopping mall. And they have so many restaurants. And when you be on that ship, although the ship have a lot of restaurants, the ship leaves like 11, 12 that night. I think just so the people could go in those restaurants, right? And you can't, if you're in reserve a seat, you ain't gonna get it. Because those people crowd those restaurants. See, they probably tired of the ship food. And then some people got money who go on these cruises. So they don't mind spending $500 for a party of 4. So they go in those restaurants and they eat the delicacy stuff that they wouldn't normally get on the cruise ship. But then on the cruise ship, a lot of those, they may have specialty restaurants, they call them. But a lot of times they be full. You can't go on them every night. You can't go on them every night. But and then sometimes they can't compete with that big time restaurants you have a show. So I would hope, well, I guess it don't matter whether or not that restaurant will entice cruise ships to remain after 6 in the evening. Because that ain't the cruise ship restaurant. So why would they? No, boy, they keep their money on board. But it's a good gesture. We'll have the mega yachts, we'll have the pool, the signature restaurant. And hopefully by the end of the year, this year, they will all be up and going. And then we have the cruise ports for each family island. We want to say, make the Bahamas what we have in the Eastern Caribbean, because our islands are larger than most of their countries. Pound for pound, we have more islands, large islands, and larger than their countries in the Eastern Caribbean. The Bahamas is huge. But when you go to the Eastern Caribbean, although they're not one hub like Bahamas, just about every single one of those countries have facilitation for cruise ship. And one cruise ship rocks their boat. One cruise ship brings them so much money that they never see. And some of them get one cruise ship per week. Boy, but when that come, you wouldn't watch. I was in one of them and I saw the gombe dancing, and this was in the middle of the week, you know. Just because our cruise ship stayed that night. They put on a show. But you know, we don't check because we spoiled. We got it so good. Got the biggest home porch right in our back door because we in that front door. And so, we need to have a cruise ship dock at every family island. You can imagine what it would be like for a cruise ship to come to the Bahamas for a 10-night cruise or 10-day cruise, and every day they on a different island with a different experience. But first of all, they go all do Nassau. They gotta do Nassau. They go all do their private island. That's 2 gone. So we only need 8 more islands to have docks, and every day for a 10-day cruise they could be in a different port, and in the Bahamas they're burning my fuel. Because once they leave one island, they go out on the ocean and hang around because they got plenty hours. And then next morning they pull up in another island and the tourists ain't, because these islands are all unique, you know. Our islands are all unique. We have similarities, but our islands are, you go to Cat Island, you get a totally different experience compared to when you go to Crooked Island or Long Island or Exuma, and that's just the way it is. So let them see the difference of our islands. Let some of these people out of Nassau go back home, and we'll decentralize Nassau, because the family islands will now need to be built around that cruise stop. These cruise ships get $5,000-$6,000, 5,000-6,000 persons on each ship. And likely, you're very likely to have a ship almost every day on those family islands, because they're making cruise ships like mad. They're running out of destinations. And I just saw recently, and boy, I got to do the international thing. Cruise ships are getting run out of some parts in Europe. Because the people say, we ain't want you all here. We ain't want all these people on our land. And not only these little small Greek islands, I'm talking about in Italy and Amsterdam, and they actually blocking the sea for the cruise ships to turn away. So destinations like our family islands will all be brand new, and cruise ships are always seeking brand new destinations. So why don't somebody just wake up our government, man, and let them realize that you build them and they'll use them. You build them and they'll use them. And it ain't cost that much money to build a cruise ship dock. Let's put in a little pier there. Every island need one. We could borrow money for everything else. Let's borrow money and get our family island people back in their islands where they can make some real money from cruise ship passengers. Give them some real experiences. They ain't got worried about all the harassment. They ain't got worried about all the crime. They ain't got worried about all the traffic. They ain't got worried about all the hustle and bustle. And this will fit in so well with stops like Nassau and their private islands and all the rest of that, that they on a peaceful cruise, and the beaches will kill them. They got all kind of beaches on our family islands, but once they get to those beaches, that's all they want. And we could have Bahamians putting, like what they doing on their private islands, they putting down condominiums and stuff on the beach where families can come in and rent a little condominium on the beach. And ain't no real house. It's something small that they could go there and they could have a little bar set up. And only their family there and along. But you know how much beaches we got in this country where we could set up condos for tourists coming on cruise ships, and they will buy them out every single day. We need to think. We need intuition. And we have our Ministry of Tourism that's supposed to be seeing these things in advance. We have our Minister of Transport that should be seeing these things in advance. Minister of Works to build the docks, seeing these things in advance. Everybody wins. Everybody wins, because once those ships start going to those places, we'll have more ships coming in the Bahamas. We'll have more money spending in the Bahamas. We'll have more things to do in the Bahamas, because all of these islands got things they can introduce tourists to. And that's all the tourists want, you know. They like new destinations. They don't care about Nassau no more. Give them a family island where they could exploit the place. Okay. That's where we need to go, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, we move to our first break. You are listening to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Payne, joined by the great Mr. Krishno Jones, my producer for the night. And we are talking maritime. At this point, we move to our first break. And when we return, we will expand on those maritime discussions. So listen, people, you don't want to touch that dial, man. You think we ain't start good yet.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart. At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling Building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Just sitting on the dock of the
Welcome back. You're listening to Maritime Matters. And on this show, we talk maritime. Maritime Matters is weekly at 17:05. That's 5:05 p.m. every week. Tuesdays here on Love 97. The primary purpose of our show is to sensitize Bahamians of opportunities in the maritime sector. We also cover current maritime issues from the domestic and international maritime feeds. The phone number to reach us, should you wish to place a call, and we welcome you to call because we're now opening the lines, is 326-8255. I repeat that, 326-8255. To hear a replay of this show or any of our previous shows, simply hit us up at any time via our YouTube page. That's Maritime Matters Bahamas. 3 words. I love you. Maritime Matters Bahamas. Just go to YouTube on your electronic device and type into the search box Maritime Matters Bahamas. So let's talk maritime. We go over our hot topics in a little more details. You know the deal? Again, 326-8255. Don't be shy. So the government plans to resume shantytown demolitions, right? What's your views on shantytowns? You think these people should be allowed to have their own little towns that they built without any oversight, and we can't put up a little shed onto our house without somebody knocking, hey, what's your permit number? Oh, you need this, you need that. Oh, that got to break down. You can't build that. No. Why are they getting away with it and we can't get away with it? Well, I don't think we should be able to get away with it, but certainly they shouldn't be able to get away. And if they did it, they need to come down. That's my views. 326-8255. Let me know if you disagree. Where precisely, Mr. Superman, are these 2 sites that are being targeted to come down and have already been given the 30-day notice? We want to know which 2 we're talking about. You got 30. So we want to know which 2. You want you just pick the 2 smallest now. But even if it's the 2 smallest, please let us know. Because we will keep our eye on this operation. When really were these notices issued? And when is the demolition slated to commence? Yes, all good. You say, oh, well, we give some notice and giving them time to sort themselves out, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so it's a 28-day notice. When did it start? Let us know. When is the demolition? Will the demolition start on day 29, or you can give them another couple of days? Because I think it should start on the 29th day. 326-8255. Don't be shy. Are any other additional sites on New Providence earmarked to be taken down prior to this year end? Mr. Superman. 2, you could do that in 1 month. And you already give it the notice. That ain't at the end of the year. And I see that happening in September. So we're 2 for October, 2 for November, 2 for December. Or 3 for each one of those months. Because once we start breaking them down, we should be on a domino effect for the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. We ain't gonna do another 6 months and say, boy, we do something. Let's keep this ball rolling. So, we want to see a schedule that includes all known shanty towns in New Providence. A schedule that includes all known shanty towns in Abaco. Ain't that much of them, boy, do it. A schedule that includes towns in the neutral. I think Exoma Ghana on it. I don't think Exoma Ghana. I remember when we always would catch them and bring them to the capital. But I hope we ain't trying to catch them no more. We don't want to catch no illegal migrants. We want them to wander about free. We got to enforce and prison officers' time to keep them in camps and make sure they eat and make sure they don't get abused because they can sue us for that. No! Let them run wild. But don't let them wake. Excuse me. We cannot afford to continue allowing them to work. Let's get the employers. I don't blame them, you know. Brothers and sisters, they want to send money home. They want to do some things. But we got laws here. The only problem is we're not enforcing our laws. The immigration officers are not locking up. The police officers are not charging. And the courts are not prosecuting employers for breaking Section 28 of the Immigration Act. We need no law for that than there. $3 or 2 years in foreclosure, or both fine and imprisonment. Excuse me, that ain't Glenn Bain saying that. That is not Captain Glenn Bain saying that. Go to the Immigration Act and look at Section 28. I think it's 28. And see what it tells us. We had nothing since Cool Acres, All Saints Way, and Coral Harbor came down. Just 6 months blank. Ain't quite 6 months yet, eh? Boy, but it's a lot of months. Superman did it. I can't take that from him, and I wouldn't try to take that from him. He did more than any other minister of works in the past when it comes to ridding our country of shanty towns. Although he only moved 3. Well, I think he moved. Did he move any in Abaco? I ain't sure. I know he's been up there. Did they really move any in Lutra? I think they can move some soon. If they ain't moved them yet, they can. So, let's put them all on a list. We have a master list. And that master list will tell the country, because we can publish that in the papers, tell the country when each one of them coming down. You can put a date to each one of them, a month. That's where we need to go with this. This is our country, man. Let's get serious and apply our laws. They assess Tappan Bay, Point, Blackwood, and Russell Island. I see Bryland on this list. Isn't Bryland the most infiltrated per capita of them all on the Lutra? I always see Bryland is crying, but how these people taking over? When are we gonna go to Bryland and make sure they can't wake? Bryland kind of small for Shanty Town. I don't know if they got no Shanty Town. I've been to Bryland. I used to run all around Bryland. And I remember seeing, boy, but plenty of them waking over there. So we need to go to those job sites in Brandon and lock up some owners, lock up some of them employers. Let them go to court and understand you need to hire Bahamians, documented migrants, and one day in Foxell. That's 326 8255. Ain't none of y'all with me. I must be in this boat by myself. No wonder we got it so bad. Because ain't nobody saying, yeah, let's lock him up. Ain't nobody saying we shouldn't lock him up. But what y'all saying? What happened? The phone off? 326-8255. Give me a call and let me know how you feel about locking up the people that hire these undocumented workers. You know where they are? All us is going to the food store. Why I pick it on the food store? I don't know. All us is see construction work going on. And many of us see them in big areas like Atlantis and Bahamas. Ain't much else is going life at key, eh? Boy, we can't even get behind them gates. But I can assure you, they're different color in the back up, but boy, they up. When is one of those employees going to get locked up? Because I can't see for the likes of me how when it come to cleaning house, we say we ain't got Bahamians to do that. When it come to babysitting, we say we ain't got Bahamians to do that. But in all our hotels, all we got is Bahamians doing those things. So who is fooling who? Boy, I ain't gonna swing me. I know we got Bahamians who could do those things. But you know the saying was back in the day. Oh, Bahamians talk too much. Oh, Bahamians thief too much. Oh, Bahamians this. Oh, Bahamians that. All excuses they can find in the world to don't hire Bahamians. Now, how much courses BDVI have for housekeeping, professional babysitting? I know you got cosmetology courses. But if they saying we don't have people professional enough and we got bringing them pretty slant-eyed pretty people to do these kind of jobs, but why don't we have courses where we could outdo them because they're as smart as us? I ain't giving nobody tell me. I sail with plenty of them. They're as smart as us. It might be a little pretty colorish. Boy, but they ain't got them shaped like us either. Look, one employer out of Life at Key or Old Fort Bay for hiring non-Bahamians where Bahamians could work. And once we do that, we know we're doing something. What about the southern section of Eleuthera? We know we got Bryland and then they talk about the midsection, right? Because when you think but Tarpon Bay and Point and Russell Island in the north, Blackwood, where Blackwood is? I know where Blackwood is. But guess what? What about the south, the deep south? The Bannerman Town and the Deep Creek and Bims's Bite and I even again all the way up to Rock Sound. Right? What about those areas? You know why I picked those areas? I picked those areas because we have this big time port for Disney. What point that is now? The point that is the southeastern end. I don't know why I can't remember all of a sudden. But guess what? That is going to generate a huge amount of work. And what happens where a huge amount of work is being generated? The undocumented workers start to seep in. The shanty towns start to build. But we shouldn't have it in South Eleuthera like we have it in North Eleuthera. Because as that develops, Lighthouse Point, that's the one. As that develops, we're supposed to make sure that that is for Bahamians only. When it comes to employment, don't let them get away with sneaking in people to do what Bahamians capable of doing. And what I can do, I don't know. Because I don't know how the people down there really go, right? But I can tell you, you need to protect your turf. If they're not already there, Don't allow them to come there and grow roots. And if they're there, let's get together with Superman and try to get them out. Let's get together with the immigration department, and I'm sure they have immigration officers down there too, and weed them out. That's where we need to go in this country. We need to be the ones. You can't just say, oh, the government lousy. We know they're lousy. What about us? Are we lousy like them? Well, they come from us, you know. So we got to get them. We got to get them, because Lighthouse Point is going to generate a lot of work for Bahamians, and if we don't be careful, a lot of Bahamians wouldn't get them. Control of our illegal migrants. When we talk about control, 326-8255. I will forget the number to call now. Boy, you all, are you all hearing me? Or you all don't care about what I saying? Or you all say, but here now, Ian about by I got money to make. Little corruption, little this, little that. I don't know what's going on. Illegal migrants, first of all, we got to get rid of all shanty towns based on our Building Control Act. See, we have the provisions, you know. We have the means to do it. The courts then prove that. The courts then tell us, use your Building Control Act and smash them down. But for some reason, we ain't doing that. For some reason, the government of the day, and that stretched back, what, 50-something years? Well, I think they was around that long. Because Mr. Roker used to chase them now. But I don't think they had too much shanty down then. Because we had these way out areas on the southern strip of Nassau and all that back then. And everybody's living uptown. So we had all the migrants with us. Right? And as we start to branch out, and we start putting roads all over the place, we start to realize these fellas taking charge and building little huts. And now it's got building stone building now with steel. Ask Mr. Kai Care video man. Ask him, he got them on video. I saw some of them. These fellas ain't building no small time shed no more. They building big time operations on land where ain't theirs. And renting it out in some cases. So we got to get rid of all shanty towns in our country based utilizing the Building Control Act. We know where they are. Yeah, we know long time where all these shanty towns are. We got drones now, you know. So anything move, drones can pick up. So when might we devise and circulate a schedule to have New Providence rid of them all? All shanty towns. No more shanty towns. You got to get an apartment like us now. Spend some of the money while you're here. You're trying to hold on to your money and send every dime home while we utilizing our hospitals and our schools and everything that we got to be using our money to keep going. That come our treasury with our money, you know. You sending yours home. But you's the first one on the line to get in these places. You got a call on the line, Mr. Producer? Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Good evening, Captain Bean. How are you?
Oh, my dear. I am in tip-top shape and getting back. Now, I know you can't disagree with me this time.
Oh, yes, I can.
He's doing me bad now.
I'm calling to ask you if your suggestion is knocking down, as you say, smashing these buildings. Is that an effort to control the illegal immigrants? Or because you're not looking at all of the other nationalities that are here and living maybe 10, 15 people in one apartment.
Well, that apartment that they're living in may not be a shanty town. That may have been built by the Building Control Act. So that might be a legal structure. What I'm saying is the ones that are not legal, where if a boatload of Haitians land, they will disseminate into the shanty towns because now they ain't never been here. Some of them can't speak English. So they'll be exposed if they go in areas where we are. So they hide away in the shanty towns until they then catch themselves and get a couple of jobs and all the rest of that. And they send most of their money home when they start to work because the shanty towns cost far less. And that's the reason why I'm saying that's one of the things we got to make sure do. Make them pay for apartment just like us. Make them pay their way just like us.
But if they're legal, right? If
Yeah.
you're saying that these are persons that are illegal and you make them pay for an apartment, then that means that if you want them to contribute to the economy, then you need to make them legal. You need to bring them into either a work permit situation or whatever their status would be. But what you're saying is contradicting to me, because you're saying that you should smash the shanty towns. But let's get to the definition of a shanty town, because if you really drive around, it's not in any particular area unless they're on government land or land that belongs to somebody that would have them evicted. Bahamians are actually collecting rent from these individuals that are living in their on their properties.
Well, the shanty towns are buildings that went up without approvals as they were being built. Like you and my house is being built, we can get approval to move from stage to stage, and then all you see, I have properties near shanty towns. I know what shanty towns are. I don't know if you've been in any of them before. Have you ever been in a shanty town?
Yeah, well, what I consider a shanty town may not be the definition of it.
No, but I want to know if you ever been in one.
What I'm saying is...
No, don't duck me like that. Have you ever been in one and moved around in it?
What, in a shanty town?
Yes. Because I have been in quite a few, and I can tell you what a shanty town is. Now, if you don't understand what goes on in a shanty town and how they set up, you can't blame me.
Because these shanty towns started as legitimate houses.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not true. They don't start out as legitimate houses. They start out without cesspits. They put their stuff. It's not only a building code problem, it's also an environmental problem.
And it's also an illegal problem.
But that's the main thing I say. I'm saying let's get rid of it. Let's flatten the playing field.
When you say smash the buildings down.
Yeah, that's what I say.
So what are you going to do with the people? They now become a
Which people? You don't give the people notice? The people got to find some. What you can do with Bahamians who ain't got no apartment right now? You finding someplace for them? You know how much Bahamians can't find an apartment right now?
You changing the subject.
No. I'm saying to you, they will be just like the Bahamians who trying to find apartments. That ain't our problem. How would you make that our problem?
If they are illegal,
you giving them notice. That's why the 28-day notice is given. In other words, you have 28 days to clear out of this illegal structure. And if they decide they want to stay, you got to find some place for them to go. Are they illegal and the structure illegal? No, man, we can't run no country like that. Which country in the world is run like that? No, none.
The buildings and some of the, what you would say, these structures, they start out with the house in the front or on the side, and then they add on to it and add on to it and add on to it. As more people come, they add on to these structures. So
yeah, but they adding on without permit to do the work.
Are you going to cut down just the structures that they added on?
Well, the structure that adding on is it okay. If you add something on your house.
To the new code. Many houses in Nassau do not have the new code. Some of these houses are 75, 60, 70 years old that they move in and occupy, refurbish, fix up, paint, you know.
No, we're not talking about the ones that are uptown where we used to live, you know. We're talking about set in the back of the bush near the water and stuff. That's where most of the shanty towns are. You ain't got much shanty towns uptown. They're club borders we used to live in. Yes, they didn't have a building code then, but I talking about these people who, first of all, they even in their land, right? And they just build structure on top of structure without getting approved because they hide behind the bush doing these things. I've been in some of them. I think if you go in one of them to appreciate what I'm saying, then you'll have a different view on what a shanty town all about. You need to do that. See, you're that bullshit. You come from Freeport, where they have no shanty towns, and you ain't know what's happening.
Structures within the city also that have these additions that the Bahamians are collecting rent for.
Yeah, but I don't want them to be getting away either. Let the Ministry of Works do their job and break them down also.
Problem, and then you don't have that will eliminate these houses that are being added on to as well.
But you know why they doing that? They doing that because the migrants continue to come to the Bahamas, because the migrants can work in the Bahamas without being unfettered, without the people who hiring them paying or being penalized, and they know that. Why do you think they pass Cuba, which is only half the distance? Why they pass Jamaica, which is only half the distance, and come all the way to the Bahamas? Because they can work here. They can send money back home. Nobody getting locked up when they wake.
The Bahamas is not usually their final destination.
Yeah, it's usually their final destination. Many of them go on, but most of them stay here. You know, you watch our population grow over the years. Our population, when I was a little boy, I think our population was like 240,000, right? And Barbados is around the same thing. And when I was a little boy, most women was having 5 and 6 children. Bahamian women. Most Bahamian women today having 2 and 3 children. And our population doubled. What I'm telling you. You can do the math on that for me.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to remember that they are born here too.
They born here because the parents come to wake and having them and yada yada. They would have been born in Jamaica too if they could have waked there. They would have been born in Cuba too if they could have waked there. But we the ones who so slack to allow them to wake and they want to come there because, I mean, I can't blame them, you know, I blame us. I don't blame them. If I was in their shoe, I would do the same thing. But I can go to the path of least resistance. I can go where my opportunities could be expanded. If they go to Cuba, you think they'd be able to send money back home? They get locked up twice. That's why they don't go there. But they could come here. And when we try to get strict with our laws, some people, they're humans, you know. No, we're not being inhumane. We're giving them the notice. We're telling them, go find yourself an apartment like us. We don't want you to be living in these structures that are not built to building code specs and that we legally built on other people's land and all the rest. We shouldn't tolerate that. Now, if you're suggesting we should just let them be, I can't buy into that.
I'm suggesting that we don't use this shanty town situation as a means of dealing with the immigration problem.
Well, it's two things. It's a shanty town. It's the employment. You stop the employment as well.
Right, because they knock the shanty towns down 1 year and then the next year they build them right back.
That's because we are not applying our law. We ain't gonna let them build it back if we watching it. Man, we know where they are, you know.
You can take a small situation with the shanty town in one area, take it down, and secure the area to make sure or ensure that it's not rebuilt. Because if the people don't have, if you just knock the building down and they don't have any place to live, because I noticed that social service was providing them with housing, which means it's a burden on the taxpayers. So we have to deal with the whole problem, not just the buildings and the land that they may be freeloading on. That's an inner city problem as well, because people on the inner city are adding on crates and barrels to their houses and collecting the little rent from the illegals.
Yeah, but let's do that. Let's make them do that first, and then we can start focusing on the people who add on to their house without getting proper building code permits and things to add on to them. Now, if they adding on to their house with the proper building code permits, building permits and this and that, then that's fine. Because they gotta pay, they gotta have a bathroom to go to, because you ain't gonna be doing that to your house and they ain't got and people defecating in the yard.
For them to get, not with they upgraded the building code, so these buildings that they added on to, it's impossible for them to be building them to code.
And where these buildings is, you know where any of these buildings is be going up?
The whole problem, not just the shanty towns. You have to You have to knock the building down and secure it. Either put something there or do something to secure the building so that they don't rebuild it back there.
No, you got to monitor. You could let me tell you something. Ain't no shanty town in this island, but the immigration department don't know about. I don't want you to think they don't know. When these people billing them, when these people let's be calling them and telling them. But we just have a slack enforcement in this country where people just get away with foolishness like that, and we end up stuck with it. Now to address it, it takes a lot more muscle. But let's use that muscle and address it. And once you start to address it, people will call you. You will respond because you know you don't want it to get to the extent where you need to use more muscle. So you keep it down. I'm just suggesting we do what we are supposed to do as a country. And we're not gonna pacify these people by saying, oh, if you break that down, then where they can go. You gotta find somebody to go. No, sir, not us. Why we gotta find somewhere for them to go? And we ain't finding no place for our own people to go when they need places to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't finding no place for our own people. Plenty of people out there can't find no apartment right now, I can tell you. But if you're illegal, two things you shouldn't be able to do.
That was my thought is that it's just not just one nationality. There's all kinds of different people.
Well, I talk about the people, the other color people who's be life at Key, and you wasn't listening, eh?
Yeah, I'm not only them ones. They have them on the inner cities too, and they live in very cramped conditions because plenty of them living in the same space, but whether or not they legal or illegal, we don't know. So
yeah, but that's why we need to go to the job sites and do sting operations like the police is doing in the middle of the road, can check car licenses. You need to go on these job sites and do documentation checks and lock up some of these employers when you find things amiss. That's where we need to go. You don't agree?
I just think that we get tunnel focused on one particular nationality.
Well, we focusing on the majority. Right? Now, that don't exclude the rest from being... The immigration department could do things for... I want you to know that between Ministry of Works, not Ministry of Works, Ministry of Labor and the immigration department, just be going on these high-end jobs, checking in to see who these foreigners are doing work that Bahamians could do too. I know about some of the situations. So, I don't want you to just think we only be checking on the lower end. No! We be checking all over. But we need to do it with more authority, more enforcement, so that people could be afraid to even hire someone because they won't get locked up.
Yeah.
Because usually we normally take the person out and don't worry about the employer. No, man, let's deal with them employers first.
All right, then. That's my comments. I let's leave you to it.
I appreciate you so much, darling. Thank you so much for lending your views, which were good views. But, we got to call it what it is. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was a good call. And she has some good points. She's a very knowledgeable lady. So, and I may run a little hot sometimes when I'm talking with her because I just believe we're just a slack bunch. And we can do better and we should do better. But I don't know. I guess much people agree with what I said. Am I being harsh? I can call it what it is. Like straight up, I think I'm being harsh. I say fine and jail employers based on Section 28 of the Immigration Act. We need some of them employers locked up. That act provides for up to $3,000 in fine and or 2 years in Foxhell. $3,000 in fine and or 2 years. So or for both, you could get fined $3,000 per employee you hire in your operation illegally, plus go to jail for 2 years. That's what the book say. What Glenn Bain say. If I had to say, it might have been Weiss, right? Because we got laws. We need to be a law abiding country. We need to be a law enforcing country. Because the laws are there for a reason. Do you know of any owners or employers that have been in court any time for hiring undocumented migrants? I don't know but none. And I know plenty. And this includes Paradise Island, Cable Beach, Lyford Key, Old Fort Bay, Albany, everywhere. This ain't just in the inner city areas. I know but none who get locked up. This includes construction sites, jitney drivers, taxi drivers, jet ski operators, and other water sport activity that they do. Are all of them legal to be in those areas where it's supposed to be reserved for Bahamians? Food stores, building supply stores. We see them all the time, and guess what? It stand out so like a sore from me to even be able to tell right away, oh yeah, that one that's rich. But you know what? The employers are getting away with it. Because they only want to pay $2. And when they talk to the person, they want the person to jump. I always remember my friend Rodney. Rodney, what your last name was? Rodney was a waiter when I was a busboy. And he's the first one I go on the wake with. I must be 16, 17. Let's get out of high school. This is at Lowe's. We had the Imperial Dining Room. Rodney, boy, he had one main laugh. Ha 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 ha. Rodney tells me, say, Bussy, he's called bus boys, bussies and buzzards, right? Buzzard. Come here. Say, let me tell you something. I just show you things once. And when I ask you to jump, you don't ask why. You ask how high. Boy, I was so scared. I was like, why was the man telling me? But after a while, we became cool and I realized he was just bluffing, right? But people, these employers, they like to employ people who they could tell do something and the person rushing to do it. Because, you know, our young men coming out of our homes, you're like, but we don't do. We don't know that. You can't be talking to me. They can move like how the undocumented waker can move, because the undocumented waker need that job. Our little fella said, but that only pay me $150. Why should I jump and be bouncing around here like I'm making money? Some of them don't even appreciate the job. They only go because they parents tell them, but you ain't gonna pay me like that. Go find something to do. They done ain't do nothing in school. Anyway, let me stop, right? So, we need to know when one of these owners get locked up. We need to know when one of these owners even be approached. We need some sting operation from our immigration officers, eh? The construction sites. And on what say all to political entities on this matter. We mentioned, yeah, the PLP in power. Last time the FNM was in power, and then the PLP before that. And then we got the COI looking for power. But what are they saying to these things they're talking about? Every day they are aware that we get undocumented workers being employed, and Employment Act said employer supposed to get locked up. Are they saying the immigration officers are not doing sting operations to catch these people? What are they saying about the shanty towns in the opposition and other parties in this country who want political power? What are you all saying? 326-8255, that only for the PLP, and for the FNM, the COI, the DNA, and everybody call and give us your views. That's what I want you all to do. Call and let me hear your view. I want to hear if you're lying, then lie. But don't think you can just sit this one out and expect when you get in the chair, you ain't got to hurt your head because you ain't promised nothing. So, we got to deal with that immigration crisis, right? Cruise Port's $26 million expansion is anticipated. We ain't got much time left. What about 10 minutes? Must get run through this, eh? But before I do so, I think we can take a break. take a break. We'll take one break and then we'll be back to finalize our thoughts on tonight's topics.
At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling Building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection. At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart.
Sitting in the morning sun.
Tick, 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 tick. Matters. On this show, we talk maritime. I am your host, Captain Glenn Payne. My producer for the night is Mr. Krishno Jones the Great. Topics we are covering tonight are very crucial, very timely. As the government plans to resume shanty town demolitions, you know, we have shanty towns in this country that are all over the place. Our government over there. And our government is saying to us that we are going to resume demolishing these shanty towns. And that coming from our Superman, the Minister of Wakes, Minister Clay Sweeting. The most effective Minister of Wakes ever in dealing with shanty towns. The one check a man deserves not just a medal, a gold medal. We're talking about controlling illegal migrants. They're in the country and we know they're here. As a matter of fact, they almost have enough, as much illegal migrants as they have, we call organic Bahamians, eh? Yeah, they basically 1-to-1 with us now. And if this continues, they'll eventually be 2-to-1. And then make no mistake about it. You get countries like Cayman Islands, they got foreigners like 3-to-1 in Cayman Islands. But they're all documented and they're all contributing, but they can never get they never become Caymanians just like that, just because they come there and they make an application. No. It's very difficult to become a Caymani. Right? I know if I use it right. Is it Caymani? Misty, where you is? It's very difficult to get Cayman citizenship. It's very difficult to get Bermudian citizenship, although they outnumbered again 2-to-1. It's extremely difficult to get a citizenship of Dubai, because again, they outnumber like 3-to-1 with residents coming in from other countries, mainly Pakistan and India and those countries, right? But you don't go there running nothing. You don't go to building no shanty towns. You don't go to getting hired and then get the proper documentation. They don't play that. When you want to do that, you come to the Bahamas. Because if you go to Cuba, you can't really get no job and you could be making no money like that. Because when you work in Cuba, you work primarily for the government, eh? Go to Jamaica, you ain't really gonna get no job like that over the Jamaicans, not to make the kind of money you make here. So you ain't have too much to send home anyhow. So what we do? We take a long journey to Nassau. Let's go to the Bahamas. When we get there, life easy. Hey, we get a job at our boy and until we could do it on our own, and then we start hiring people. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. Except, just like how nothing is wrong with it in Dubai, just like how nothing is wrong with it in Bermuda or Cayman, they have it totally organized because they need the labor. But no, we can't organize like that in the Bahamas because we got to get a couple of dollars out of this. Every head is 10 grand to get here. When they here, we got to use our land to let them build shanty towns and pay us for 20 grand a month for letting them settle on our land. Although we getting involved in it because we try to build, one of them doing it, and he collecting from them while he pay us for 20 grand a month, and everybody happy. But the country suffers because most of those who are only paying $20 a week are sending most of their money home. They ain't paying for no apartment. What gonna cost them a couple of dollars to stay here? You know? Anyway, 326-8255 is the number to call. We only got 3 minutes left. My Lord. And we were talking about the Nassau cruise port. Are they going to expand? It's anticipated $26 million worth of expansion. They're going to put a mega yachts facilitation there, a big Olympic-sized pool, and a big-time restaurant. Which one, I don't know. And they're looking to have all this done before the end of this year. And we're asking that our family islands, every single family island, have a dock where a cruise ship could come in and tie up. We call some good destinations, eh? We call some good destinations. We got one ready to go. That's Morgan's Bluff. And we can move along Andres, and we could probably do Fresh Creek area. And if we pass that, let's go to Drakesville. But we need to do Drakesville. We need to go off Sandy Point Abaco because Disney got Castaway Key right there. But only Disney could go there. So we put one off Southwest Point in the Sandy Point area and allow any cruise ship to come there. Eleuthera Strait. Exuma, Stocking Island. Only one we need. If you want to go to Rocus Point and try put something jetting out of there and dredge that for the cruise ship, fine. That could wait too. And then we could probably, well, we won't put nothing on the eastern side of Stanley Key, eh? But who knows? Let them choose. Let them choose. Stanley Key may say that's too much people. Stanley Key might sink. And then we got the Forward Islands, eh? Each one of them need a dock. And we know where we could put them. Got Betsy Bay and Landrail Point and Matthew Town and Duncan Town. But cruise ship stops all over the place, man. Clarence Town and Port Nelson and all these places could have a dock where cruise ships could come and be comfortable. And that's how we want to roll. Oh, we got a call at the end of the show. Is that a call, producer? Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello. Hello. You're on Maritime Matters.
Good day. How are you?
Oh, top shape and getting better all the time, my dear. How are you?
I'm great. And yourself?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, my name is Indira Crowley. First time on the show.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for calling, Indira.
Yeah. I think you're doing a good job. And the topic of what you're talking about is very unique. And everything you're saying, you're totally right.
Wow. Thank you so much for that.
And you're making sense.
I appreciate you so much, darling. I mean, I'm glad you share those views, and I trust that we will all have our authorities, do some of the things to make things happen for us in this country.
Yeah,
right.
Because to live here in the country, like you say, you have to do it the right way, okay?
That's right.
My sister, Tim, she lives in Atlanta, and when she went there, like, she had to do the process.
That's right.
You have to.
Yep. Although
And I just want to send a shout out to for Paula Crawley.
Paula, that's in Atlanta or that's here?
That's here in the Bahamas.
Okay, there you go. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
And you please continue to listen, and thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What a wonderful call to end our show. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We're fresh out of time. You have been listening to Maritime Matters. I'm your host, Captain Glenn Bain. Our wonderful producer for the night is Mr. Kishno Jones. I would like to thank all the listeners, our sponsors for the night, Bahamas Maritime Connection, Island Care Pharmacy up there in Freeport, and of course, 101 Pharmacy here in Nassau, the big city. Anime, good night to my Anime. Well, y'all know that's my #1 fan, and I know she's still listening. Anime, good night to you, darling. And thank you again for the callers. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we say, as always, Maritime Matters. Tick, 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 tick. Out.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've had nothing to live for, look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change, everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. This 2,000 miles I roam just to make this drop my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
The music is good.
Just like gives me a good feeling all day.
It's great music.
Don't hear the same song a lot.
Love 97,
Your favorite adult radio station.
it's a great feeling.